Welcome to the You Are Here podcast. Episode 109 of the You Are Here podcast. My name is Mike. I'm here with Dave. Find the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube with the video, Anchor.fm, www.youareherepodcast.co. We cannot afford the M.
And you're too good at this now. You've gotten too good at the intros, dude. Who are you?
My name is Mike. I'm here, man.
Yeah.
I'm here. You are here. We're all here right now. This is episode 109 of the podcast. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. We all agree right now to drop into the moment. Those who are listening at home.
Yes.
Put it all down.
Yeah.
Let's just listen to each other. Let's just take.
Shut off Tinder. Shut it all off. Because you're listening right now, and we're talking. I get caught too, man.
Yeah.
I just look at Tinder and I swipe and I swipe. But you know what?
And then
I'm gonna put that down.
And then in 5
Put
hours.
my phone. In 5 hours, I'm crying, dude. In 5 hours, I'm crying, bro. And it's all right. But we're here.
Time moves like water on Tinder, I've heard, dude. Listen, we got a guest today.
Yeah.
We got a guest today.
Yeah.
Dude. He's back. Guest of the
year one, dude.
Dude, first year we had.
He's back. Nicky Craven.
Nicky
in the house.
Craven in the building.
I forgot about that. I forgot I was guest of the year.
Wait. Nick Craven.
Such a pleasure again being here. I always love talking. I mean,
This is awesome.
like, you know, I'm always forcing myself on. I'm just like, Dave, let's talk. And this is the way to talk.
This is how we talk. This is how we communicate.
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean,
I had an
yeah.
idea.
What do
I
you
had an
think?
idea. I think it's a good idea. I have a nickname for you.
Ooh.
And I want to run it by you and I want to know what you think.
Okay.
Okay. Nicky BALLGAME. What do you think, dude?
Oh, I love it so much.
Nicky BALLGAME.
Nicky BALLGAME.
Nicky BALLGAME. Talk about boosting my ego a ton on the basketball court.
Dude.
That's what we do here.
Athletic guy, right? Can hit the deep three. He's there. He's clutch. And he comes prepared. We have a whole list of things we can talk about today because Nicky BALLGAME's prepared.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, we basically did all the work for us.
Prepared.
Nicky
know?
BALLGAMEs.
I love it. I used to have my best friend since I was 6. Sam Gutman is his name. His dad and I were really good friends, and his dad was the coach. Was the coach of my baseball team when we were younger, and he used his nickname for me was, which I thought was really cool, was funny enough, kind of like Machine Gun Kelly, Machine Gun Craven.
Oh, I like
my
that.
name because I threw kind of fast at a young age, and so he called me Machine Gun Craven.
Machine Gun Craven, dude.
Machine Gun Craven,
Dude, I don't
which
know
maybe
that name.
was a little inappropriate
That's
for like
aggressive.
a 12-year-old.
Yeah, that is kind of
Machine Gun to
aggressive.
be in the name.
It's aggressive.
It
It's
changes
also
the way
kind
you
of-
walk, right? It changes the way you move when you get a nickname like that.
Oh my God, Nicky BALLGAME, please.
Nicky BALLGAME.
What you doing?
You know?
Pretty much just Nick Young. It's a little swaggy.
Bro, I never got a
don't-
nickname like that, dude.
You never had like a nickname?
No, man.
I feel like I never had either.
So let's give ourselves nicknames real quick. Nick, if you had to nickname us, what would you nickname us individually?
Wow, on the spot.
Not as a unit, but individually. And it better be good, dude.
Not as I don't know. I'm trying to think. Oh man, I'm so bad at
First one that
nicknames.
comes to the top of your head, bro. No, it's got to be first one that comes to the top of your head.
This is the thing about nicknames. They got to be so organic, or else they're
They
not
do.
good. You
What's
know
some
what I
like
mean?
duos?
We can do a
Some duos,
Make it
you know?
easier.
I'm trying to think. The only duo I could think of is really bad. It's just of mice and men, dude.
Butter and toast.
Just think of fucking Lenny, dude.
Mice and men. We'd be good at that.
Yeah.
Maybe Mikey now.
Mikey now.
I
I am here now, Mikey now.
I've
I'm
actually
here
played
now.
with that in the past.
I am ready now. Now.
I played with that in the past, man. That was my first beat making.
Davey V has a good ring to it.
Davey
V. Okay.
Ooh, you're Davey Danger.
I am Davey Danger.
He's Davey Danger. That's his thing.
But he's saying Davey V.
Davey Danger? Oh, I like that way
Davey
better.
Danger's so good.
Dude, I'm dangerous, dude.
Davey Danger.
You don't know.
You gave yourself that though, right?
Yeah, I didn't give myself a nickname. No one gave it to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Davey Danger. I love it.
That's really good. I like that.
Davey Danger, dude.
Be a little bit delusional every once in a while, but Davey Danger, whatever.
Just don't mess with the kid, dude. Davey Danger.
Hey, don't mess with Davey Danger. How you doing?
Nicky BALLGAME,
I feel like Italian Americans and probably the Irish have the best nicknames for each other.
Yeah, for sure. Everything is a if it's a Nick, a Mike, a Dave, a Chris, or whatever, it's an E at the end. I've realized growing up my whole life.
Always.
That's how it is. Nicky, Mike. I call you Mikey all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
But that's what we do.
My dad has called me Nicky Boy since I was 5.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
It's the East Coast thing. It's that tri-state area deal. I don't know why.
It's for sure like that Italian American New York. Hey, how you doing? Nicky, Davey, Mikey.
Nicky BALLGAME.
Nicky BALLGAME.
Dude,
I love that name.
Is that not perfect?
That's really good.
I love that name.
I thought of it on
That's
the way
what they call you on the East Coast.
Nicky BALLGAME.
Nicky BALLGAME.
Nicky BALLGAME. Nicky BALLGAME. How you doing?
From here on out, that's
I love it. I love it almost too much.
Dude, we're gonna get into this list right now. I want in on the list. So Nick, for those who are listening right now, Nick has prepared a list.
Yeah, he did our work.
He did our work for us this week. But I mean, these are some things I thought I wanted to ask you already that you already wrote down. One of them being, dude.
I figured
What are some movies you watched this year, bro, that have stuck out to you?
Oh yeah, let's go. Let's get into it.
Just right at the top.
All I've been doing is watching movies. I've been rewatching. I've been finally I sort of at the end of my life in New York, I was sort of getting better at being okay, I need to watch a lot of old films and get into these directors. So if I'm talking about film, I mean, I've just obviously, directors are just that you're working with are just watching other directors that expand from wherever they come from. And, so you have to have a good knowledge of, just film and cinema in general. So I've just been trying to, for the past few years, really, but especially now that I have time, I think I always had time, but now I'm really making time for it.
Yeah.
I'm doing a good job of that, I think.
Yeah.
So I've been watching a lot of old films. I watched the films that came out this year that I love. I thought about this. I mean, I thought about you, Dave, as soon as I watched it, because I was like, was Soul. Did you see Soul?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So good, man.
Oh, my. He told me about it.
I told him to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, talk about enjoying the little moments in life, and you sort of I don't know if you watched Inside Out, but it's sort of
I did.
similar.
Yes.
And I think it's by the same dude, and you sort of could tell this is maybe where it was going, but also just the idea of being obsessed with something and thinking that your life will be fixed or your life can officially begin when you finally achieve the work or the success as an artist or whatever it may be. Obviously it's considered art, or they use art in that movie, but I think especially for art, because it's such because as far as the term bliss is used, it's I mean, that's why we do it. It's because it's the only thing that seems to make us happy. We pursue it every day, whether it's actually literally or just for ourselves. And so I think we probably all the time, and I've tried to be better at this, but but just be better at the fact that nothing is necessarily going to change if I get a job that's paying me money or whatever it may be. And I think so. The inspiration for the story was that Trent Reznor, the dude who's from Nine Inch Nails, he's and he told the director the story about how when he was a young artist, when he was our age, he used to say that I just need to play one live show, I won't be depressed anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he used to tell it, and then he said, he was and then I played a live show, and I went home, and the entire audience went home, and I woke up the next day, and I ate breakfast, and I don't know, nothing, essentially nothing had changed, and so it was just, I think, I mean, the movie hit me hard.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
Yeah.
For that same reason, Nick. It's the same reason. It's like, you know, in the pursuit of a thing you love, it becomes like your idol. You know, it becomes something you worship, and that's the end all be all. And like that's the stories we hear people who have succeeded in these pursuits that do play the show, like, you know, homie Trent did. And it's upsetting to hear, because like we do kind of fantasize, you know, once we get that job, then
the big break.
Then, you know, that's when I'll love myself and my family.
The big break.
Will be good. Yeah, the big break. Yeah. That's when it all comes together in life. Like that'll be the one success I need. And I think the truth is, like, life is way more complicated than that, dude. It's way more. Are we frozen here? Are we free? Is that okay?
Oh, you're good.
Okay. No,
You're not frozen, man.
I don't know why I'm frozen.
Yeah, we're frozen on our end. But life is way more complicated than like just one success equals you're happy, I think, throughout your life. It's like, if we don't enjoy the journey and the things going on around us, like any success is just pointless. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be, you're still going to be the same person. You know, nothing really changes. The money in your account changes.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Maybe the way people look at you changes, but you don't change your perspective of like the way you see life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
People see that. But I think people see that too. If you ever get to a point where, you know, I don't even know what success is. I mean, I think that movie kind of just proves is like, what is success? I mean, maybe you can define for success for yourself, but ultimately, like, that meaning of whatever that word is constantly changing and in motion throughout your entire existence. And so, if you get to that place, it's, I guess, I had a thought and it completely escaped my mind. But it's just like, I don't know. I guess the idea, that's what I was going to say. I think also, if you ever get to that place, like, people see whether you've been enjoying the process or not.
Yeah.
People will recognize within you how you act and how you behave and what your body language is. If you're enjoying this for pure enjoyment, or you're, you know, or you've gotten to the, you know, they see, people love people who enjoy life. People are not, you know, attracted to people who are, you know, not to, I mean, you can measure pessimism and optimism every once in a while, but like, there's, I don't know, people definitely see that within you, and are more attracted to that ultimately.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
definitely, like, more
opposed to what he was.
Right. I want to ask something, like, so I saw this, like, I feel like with life, like, there's a lot of these big ideas about, like, the dream, like, back in the day for, like, you know, immigrants and people come to America, it's like the American dream of, you know, you own your business, you know, you have the land of opportunity, you create your thing, you build it up, you have your family, and like, that's the norm. For acting, like, you know, you get, you grind, and you get that one role that it's like your big break, and you get somewhere. Like, do you think that's still alive with like today? Like, do you think there's like a new kind of dream thing, or like, what's the
American dream?
Do you think that's still alive? And do you think it's the same kind of thing?
I think about this too all the time. I don't know. I think about this too a lot. I think, like, especially, I'm trying to be a little more political. I think there is definitely like the dream within the middle class, and I mean, you know, especially Biden put out a thing a couple days ago that basically is basically putting out a guideline that is allowing immigrants who are deported from the country to basically come back. And so, like, I think sense I do. Like, I don't think it's the same, because it's not talked about in the same way as like the 1980s, like Jimmy Carter or whatever American dream used to be. Like, there is no like, you know, sense of like, like, as you said, the small business and, you know, becoming, you know, nothing, coming from, you know, a lower class neighborhood or a working class neighborhood to, you know, making a life for yourself and making a living.
But also, like,
I think yes, and it's.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, what were you saying?
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think in a sense that it will always exist probably, but just because in terms of like politically, it's not talked about anymore. And like, Biden always talks about like how the middle class needs to be fixed and how it's gone down, and it's and he's talking about that because stuff like the American dream is not as kind of discussed anymore as an idea of like an idea that's like constantly moving. It's more of, I mean, also like we're just like treating rich people who used to be rich. Obviously, that's like the same problem, and I think we're trying to figure out how to fix that as opposed to like. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think so. But what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to relate the idea of the American dream kind of to the same as like the Hollywood like kind of dream. You know?
Yeah, kind of.
Like because I think it's tough now. It's like I don't think there's that Hollywood right now is, you know, it's kind of it's not non-existent right now. Not really like that. It's still there. You know what I mean? But the different avenues that opened up. It's like, do you think people are still, you know, like trying to reach that's like their end goal, you know what I mean? Because a lot of the time, like that was the end goal back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Get into Hollywood, I'm, you know, on the
sign with the studio,
you know,
right?
Go on these late night television shows, and I'm chilling, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, no, it's so funny. I walked around the other day and I was just like, this place is a super low, like people are so lonely here.
I wanted to talk to you about that, bro. That headline on the thing you wrote here, it was so it like moved me, and I was curious. Like,
what was that?
It was Los Angeles, the loneliest place in the world.
Place I've ever been.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I wanted to talk to you about that because what does that mean to you? Like, why is that what it's like for you? Is that how you would describe it? The loneliest place? It should be like a book title. Like that's a book title, dude.
No, what's really funny is that it's a movie with, oh my God, the guy from Casablanca. What's his name?
Humphrey Bogart.
Humphrey Bogart. The movie is called It's a Lonely Place, or In a Lonely Place, rather.
Okay.
And it's a movie from like the 1950s in which he plays an LA screenwriter, and it basically discusses how like Hollywood in itself, he is a screenwriter criticizing the industry he's in, constantly talking about how extremely separate and delusional people from whatever their dreams are, and,
right?
Are, you know, not like confronting reality in its purest form. They are you know, constantly distracting themselves from reality, essentially.
Right.
He's sort of a screenwriter trying to explore this idea the entire time. And it was just, I watched that movie and then I kind of like walked around, and I even like walked around. I went to this restaurant last night. I like picked up food from this like Peruvian place because I was like, I haven't had Peruvian food. And so I used to work at a Peruvian bar in New York. And so I was like, they have ceviche and fucking thing. I'm like, get this. And I went there. It was all these like kids who were my age probably, and you could tell that they were either like kids with, you know, dudes who were mid-20s with like blonde hair, and like who were TikTok stars, along with these women who dress like they were just like, you see them on Instagram all the time. People, they were, and like in my head I was like, you can't afford the food that you're eating, as neither can I. You have chosen to show up here because this is a poppin' place in Los Angeles, in like the heart of like what rich people LA is. And I'm not here to judge, you know, I don't know who you are as a person, like that's, you know, sorry, my dog.
No,
it's not my dog.
Oh, what's up, dog?
He's a massive Great Dane.
That's a big guy.
Yeah, he's huge. But it's just so, but you could tell by the like, you know, you could just tell that their actions, and like also like meeting people, it's really hard, especially because everyone here works in this industry and nobody knows how to go about it. Everyone thinks that they either have to network or have to, you know, or like you know, attacking the craft and like a, you know, sort of like a educational sort of, like nobody knows what to do ever if they're not at a place where they're not working, if they're not at a place where they're not working all the time, which is the majority of people who live here. And so it's just like, it's so depressing, you know, and everything's so separate. You know, you walk around New York and there's this sense of like, you know, trying to connect with people you know, constantly. And a sense of, you know, even if it's a big community, a community in general. Yeah. And people are just, and it's the exact thing I thought when living here last time, which is why I moved to New York. And then I came back and I'm sort of like rediscovering all of it. And not to say like, I mean, I'm talking shit about it, but there are definitely like I like it for a lot of reasons.
Right.
But it's you can just tell that the people are just so so disconnected from reality, I guess.
Man, it's a land of
and they're
make-believe, dude.
Yeah, and it's you know, in the same like La La Land, that movie that with the Ryan Gosling movie, is like a cool example of that, because it's such an optimistic point of view of like, you know, coming to LA as an actor and like having these big dreams and achieving them, but also like the whole movie is about how like feeling like they're not good enough for what they're trying to do.
Right.
Which is essentially what, you know, all these people are going through.
Yeah.
But in a much more like delusional and like they're not, you know, delusional sense, I guess, you know. And again, it's hard because I don't know these people, but like you can tell just by talking to them and like just being here and like reading and watching interviews and like also watching films, like you can tell that's just sort of the environment that is this place. And so it's really, you know, and I guess every environment has a little bit of that. Every city has a little bit of that.
Do you think it's like a competitive thing, Nick? Do you think it's like since everyone's on the same path, or since everyone's after the same, you know, career path at different stages?
Yes.
Like, do you think it's like this floating, like you can't see it, but it's in everyone's behavior and the way they move? Like, is it competitive? Does it feel that way?
Yes, very. Oh, for sure. I was going to say, and that's like, I've like the, you know, writing for the past few months, like that's what I've slowly discovered about like just people in general, and especially living here, is that everyone is just trying to, you know, everyone is just trying to get a leg up on one another. No one is like, there's no sense of like making something or taking part in something because you think this subject or whatever it is you're trying to discuss in the story needs to be told. There's no like passion and like need towards that. It's just like, you know, how can I just like, I guess it's just fame, really. I guess it's just like people are just obsessed with the idea of fame.
Of course, yeah.
And you can just see that. And you can see just by how they're, you know, yeah, you can just see it in their body language. It's just so, I don't know if it's depressing necessarily. I think it's just like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting. Yeah, I think it's also just, especially now more than ever, just because of the pandemic, people are extremely separate and not, you know, they're in their houses and separate from one another. And so there's not so much action. But even, you know, with a city that there is, you know, there's a lot to take advantage of still. There's a lot to see. There's a lot to like participate in and just, you know, and in New York, everyone wants to be there. People are proactive.
Yeah.
They want to go, they want not go places in the like the kind of like fantastical sense, but they like want to be proactive and like, and, you know, see new art and visit and go to museums and communicate with people and make connections. And in LA, it's so not, people just don't take advantage of living here, unfortunately. It's like a lot of complaining.
Man.
Anyway.
That's such a bummer, man.
Yeah.
But it has to do, I think, with it does. It is a little bit, because like you can find good connection anywhere, I think, on this earth, you know, if there's two people or more. That's my belief, dude. But and I'm sure it's still obvious. I'm sure you're still having connections wherever you go, and in LA.
Yo, Nick.
Exactly, and I think that's sort of the thing that I'm learning, is that this feeling will probably kind of translate wherever.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
It's just a matter of that. Yeah, it's just a matter of
one thing I wanted to ask you,
following your bliss.
One thing I wanted to ask you, what's like, I feel like I never asked this to people that live in LA or from LA. What's your favorite like place in LA or part about LA?
Yeah. Well, definitely so funny. I went to, there's this little area in LA called Atwater Village that I went to the other day. I like got food there. And it's cool. It's kind of filled with like, it's filled with people who are, who have kind of like there's a lot of residential neighborhood around it with kind of like expensive housing, but that block is like, I think I like it because it reminds me of New York because of how proactive it is. It's like really, there's just tons of shops and places to go and coffee places, blah, blah, blah. I think it just reminds me most of a city in which people are feeling like comfortable with themselves. And it's like a lot of families, and it's really diverse, and it's called Atwater Village, this area.
Okay.
It's kind of like it's sort of like, maybe I'm trying to compare it to somewhere in New York. Like a more expensive Bushwick or something.
Okay.
But the architecture over there is so nice, and the streets are extremely shady, and it's really family oriented. But at the same time, you can tell that these people are artists, and they're like making a living of what they're doing, and it's really kind of like joyful to walk around. I walked around there, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool." There's unfortunately, anytime I took a beautiful hike the other day that was along the beach in Pacific Palisades, which is like a kind of more wealthy neighborhood. Anytime I take a hike where it's just like, where you're at the top of something and you can look down at the place that you live is just such a beautiful feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know, most of my favorite places are probably places that have to do with specific memories.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like the pure.
Yeah.
Like what it looks aesthetic of them or what it looks like or whatever. But I don't know. I fucking love going to Dodger Stadium, watching Dodger games. It's really fun.
Oh man.
My roommate is like the biggest Dodger fan, and we were just watching they won the World Series this year, obviously, and we were just all we could think about is how we should be there, watching. Man. And baseball specifically is such a communal, like
it really is.
Friends with all the fans who are sitting behind and below you, and you're just high fiving.
Dude, that was my favorite thing about going to Yankee Stadium as a kid. I used to go.
Yeah.
And you get in the seats, and there'd be people I forgot all about that. Dude, I remember this so vividly. Like a home run would be hit, it'd be just soaring through the air, and we'd be like on the edge of our seat. As a kid, I remember it like that was my most like significant memories of Yankee Stadium was high-fiving strangers after a home run. Like turning around and some like 55-year-old dudes like smacking your hand. You're like, yeah, this is awesome. It's the best feeling,
Yeah.
People are just like they're out there like the one thing about baseball games specifically, it's like, if the Dodgers are losing, we just go home. Like it's whatever. We're kind of drunk. We'll just go.
We're
take an Uber. See you later.
Yeah.
But there's no like, especially in LA, because I think probably in New York it's different because people in New York are just fucking more assertive and more passionate about the sports in general. And that's just like a fact now that I've lived in both places. So like, this is just a fact. New York is just more passionate about sports in general. But like, so there's no like fuck yous or fuck this. And like, like Dodger fans just kind of like moving on.
Yeah.
Had a good time. Keep going. But when the Dodgers are winning and you were there, fuck, man. People are just like, there is no, like, people are probably at their happiest.
Yeah.
Like, it's just such a high sense of joy. And to like, it's like being at a wedding. Like when you're at a wedding and you get to celebrate two people that you love dearly, like everyone is so fucking pumped.
Yeah.
And when you're at a sports game celebrating the Dodgers, the Lakers are sort of the same way, but there's something about watching baseball that I think is different. I think because it's outside too, and it's more classic, and because of that, everyone is just so pumped. It's so much fun, and I miss it. I
got to go to the Staples Center right before COVID hit. I'm talking a week before.
You told me this. Yeah.
Dude.
What a game, right?
Oh my God. It was 2 weeks after Kobe passed away.
Jeez.
2 or 3 weeks after Kobe passed away, there was still chalk outside of the Staples Center, murals, all kinds of stuff. I remember walking on the street, and it's all beautiful pictures that were painted, dude. And dude, Being in the Staples Center as a lifelong basketball fan, there's nothing like it. There's not. I consider it like the first time you go to the Garden. It's like that. It's like that.
Yeah.
The electricity in that place, dude. Looking up at the rafters and seeing Kobe's jersey hanging after that, like I couldn't believe I was in. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, LeBron fucking broke. He stole the ball backcourt and fucking 3 steps. He was at the hoop and jamming a fast break. I never seen anything like it in my life. I never seen that kind of athletic like ability in front of me before in my life. Period. End of story.
It's weird. I haven't seen LeBron, or no, I have seen LeBron in person actually, and I remember thinking Kobe was kind of like this as well, but more LeBron like.
Yeah.
Like I just couldn't believe a human being existed who was that size and that build. It was wild.
Yeah. It was feat,
wild.
Dude. It was incredible. But I'll never forget that, man. Being in that, and your guys won the title.
And we won the title, baby, which was just
so now your Dodgers win the title, then your Lakers win the title. What's next, dude?
It's LA's time.
It was unbelievable. The Lakers won, or no, it was the Dodgers won first, and then the Lakers won right after.
Yes.
And like our friends, we're all Laker Dodger fans. I have like a chat with my high school buddies, and we're all just like talking whatever is happening that day in pop culture or whatever, or sports, and. So we're just like, fuck, the Dodgers and the Lakers both might win that championship. Are you kidding me? It also might happen next year. And
they got a good shot. They got a good shot.
They have a great shot. I mean, the Lakers are kind of dropping down right now, unfortunately, but AD is injured and Schroeder, I don't know what's going on with Schroeder, but like the Dodgers look amazing now that we have Mookie Betts, who we're like, oh my God, this is the best baseball player ever.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. It was so much fun. And it was so cool, especially the Lakers championship. I was a little skeptical when they were playing the Heat because I was like, fuck, the Heat are like coming together in this like real serious way. They are finding like synergy that is hard to find.
I think it's Jimmy Butler, dude, for real. I think it's Jimmy. I think he's the fucking.
I know for sure it's Jimmy. I love Jimmy.
I love him too, dude.
Fucking.
I love him
he's
so much. Dude, do you remember after? I don't even know how we would do this, but we would go. This is one of my favorite memories of when you lived in New York. We would go meet up at that little bar and eat nachos and watch the Lakers at the Laker bar. Do you remember that? And we would get beers. It was after like a rehearsal of some kind, or after this. I forget.
Yeah, I took you there with. I remember. Did I take you there with Luke?
Yes.
Luke there?
Yes. It was a Laker bar,
right? Oh my God! It was after
Laker
that
bar
thing
in New
we
York?
did.
The reeds, the cold reed deal.
Yes,
That's what it
those
was.
cold reads.
Yeah.
And at the St. Mark's Theater.
He's right across the street at a Laker bar.
Laker bar? That's so sick.
And we
the one Laker bar in New York City.
That's crazy.
They just served like pretty decent Mexican food and had the Laker game on always. Had Laker banners everywhere. Was like, oh my God! Not only did like one of my favorite neighborhoods, but
that's a moment.
Nicky BALLGAME
Laker
was
bar.
there, dude.
Nicky BALLGAME.
Nicky BALLGAME was right there.
So much.
Nicky BALLGAME knows the
so
spots.
much fun,
dude. It was a lot of fun, and
it's so much fun.
I don't know why. I'm going to be honest of why it's bridging me to this next thought. And we got to trust the moments. The You Are Here podcast. We got to trust it.
We trust.
All right. And I love you very much, Nick Craven.
Me too.
So there was a bartender there. This is my perspective, my point of view. She was into you. You know what I mean? She was flirtatious. She was kind. She was sweet. And now it's got me thinking, Nicky BALLGAME, handsome dude. Tanned up, very in shape right now, very fit.
He's a cute kid.
The dating prospects in LA right now. I want to talk about the dating scene because LA's in huge regulations. Like you're locked down. You're locked down.
You got to let him know when you go on the date.
How does it work, bro? Explain this to me. How does that work for you right now?
Short answer, it doesn't. Short answer, nothing.
Hey,
short answer,
we're
nothing.
in this.
Hey.
We're in this.
Short answer, nothing's happening. It's weird, man, because and you want to, there's no sense of right or wrong when it comes to like how to live in this pandemic. People are just going to do what they're going to do. Ultimately, I think people, because ever since Biden has been in office and he's been advocating mask wearing and stuff, people are understanding like, oh yeah, maybe we should follow science.
That's all I'm saying.
So it's been better.
The reason I'm single is Biden.
And that's the reason, Mikey.
That's the reason.
Yeah. Biden.
Yeah. So I'm glad we're on the same page, everyone. You can continue.
Yeah, but just like, fuck, man, nothing's going, nothing's going on. But like, yeah, so everyone has their judgment of whatever is right or wrong. I'm like, I'm very trying to be as responsible about it as possible.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Not make any like stupid decisions in which like I'm start seeing someone at this time, like, not knowing who they are in the first place. Like, when you're dating, you're starting to get to know someone and you don't know them. And so it's just really like, it's really hard.
Red-blooded man gotta live.
But a dude's got to live. But it's like, yes, exactly. Dude's got to live. Dude's got to do their thing, man.
You gotta live.
But I know that's the tough. I know, and that's like, yeah.
Responsible, really, of course. And I think you're obviously doing that in your own ways. Like, but
yeah, absolutely.
It's like, do we just stop?
You're just trying to listen to life. You're trying to listen to life in general, what it's telling you. So like when I'm trying to balance it out as best as possible. But yeah, but it's tough to date right now. It's tough to do anything. It's tough to just like interact. I'm still like, I'm just like fucking this all the time, swiping and then I'll get off it because I'm like, I don't, I had a recent thing of like, I don't see myself being a person who meets someone this way. It's just so not organic.
I vibe with that, man.
Yeah, exactly. I just like, I don't see myself as a person who like ends up doing this with someone, and like, not the idea of like, having this meeting someone or, meeting someone for drinks and dinner with the person I met on Hinge and someone asking me like, oh, where'd you guys meet? I don't think there would be shame in saying like, we met on Hinge. But there is a little bit of like, my soul doesn't connect with this idea. Like, I don't believe in this at all. I don't think this should be a thing. I think
deep down, I think that too.
Like, yeah. All right, what were you gonna say?
No, like deep down, I think that as well. Like, I just had that feeling. But I think maybe I want to be more open, right? Like maybe I'm just not used to it, right? Like, we're just not used to that, the way this works.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's just something you gotta,
teach their own. Like everybody could meet someone their own way, and like, I mean, fantastic that people are meeting someone, and it's, especially at a time where it's tough to meet people. And I mean, it's always tough to meet someone. So it's like, it's cool in that, like, it's another option.
Yeah.
Like people are constantly complaining. And we have been for centuries about, not meeting the person you'd like to, or like thinking that you've ruined a relationship, or you didn't see the person the way they want, or didn't stand right by it, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And so having this thing as another option is great for some people, and some people fit the mold. But I'm like, in my head, I'm just like, this is like so now I've been like, my values do not match up. My ethics and my moral, whatever, just don't match up with this fucking thing. I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I'd so rather it happen organically wherever it may be.
Yeah.
I've been very like on or off of that.
You have one of the best stories ever, and I won't bring it up, and it's personal, but like,
oh, you can't do that.
I can't. We can't talk about it, and it's not. We're not going to go into it.
You got to skip that.
Let me go into this, but it was one of the best stories. If you ever meet Nick Craven, ask him about it.
Wait, I don't know which one it is.
It had something to do with a wedding, I believe. I'll say that. Nick Craven.
Right.
Nicky BALLGAME, dude. There he is. Pow. That's my guy.
I was like, what? Yeah. Oh, I see. It's so funny. I just she just texted me the other day. Funny enough. Anyway, but we'll keep going.
and we'll just briefly pass it.
We'll go past it.
And Nicky's on the market. The stock's up.
Nicky stole the bride. What?
The stocks are up, dude. You better hit him up now.
Stock's going up, man.
Yeah.
We'll see it. Yeah, I do have this date on tomorrow, which I'm excited.
Dude, I don't want to shout it out, but I'm glad you did because I have a question for you. What is if I was this girl, right? If I'm the girl you're gonna meet tomorrow, what is one thing surefire that would get you out before dinner, like before the food even came out, that I did? What would it be? What's the turn off for Nick Craven right out the gate?
Oh, damn.
Ooh, That's tough. I haven't been in that situation before.
And what's one that secures a second date? So we got two questions right here.
Yeah. Ooh, good question.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty big believer as far as like I think that people, if it's like, I'm always like, I'm fucking 7 different people on a first date. I'm just like, what does she want from me? Like, it's all just like a fucking negotiation. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just so
How do I put out the best version?
Like, I think I can handle it pretty well, but I'm also like,
yeah.
It's just, you're trying to gauge the other person, and there's going to be a lot of like stuff that she says or that I say that the other person's like, oh, didn't like that, throw that out, or like, ooh, like that thing, like keep that in his pocket. That's a good thing, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just, but so like I'm always a pretty big advocate of like, first date is always really fucking stupid. Like, and if it's good enough, like, give it a second.
Yeah.
Give it a second.
Yeah. Because you're not really being yourself with each other, right? It's not like that.
Yeah. I think if there's a really good sense of humility and like self-awareness, that's a pretty like good like
love it.
We'll keep going, and like a sense of humor. Like if I tell a couple jokes and they laugh, I'm like, sick.
What's the turn off, dude? Is it the opposite of that?
You turn off.
No humility, big ego. Like.
I think a strong, overwhelming, talked about passion for like money or something like that.
Love it.
If someone is, you can like, if money inspires you to kind of wake up and do the things you're doing and is like helping you, that's one thing. But to like be constantly talking about it and to let it take over your entire life is like a whole nother deal. So it's probably that. I mean, definitely like different political beliefs. Like, I'm not dating a Republican. Unfortunately,
just not doing it.
It's got
I refuse. Not the card.
It's got to be like a
rom-com. It's like as much as I miss the times where Republicans and Democrats can be like friendly with each other.
Get a beer.
It's just like, unfortunately, just does not exist anymore. Probably not that. Probably those two things.
Okay.
I guess it's all, there's always like a sense of like, there's always a sense of body language and willingness to smile and willingness to laugh and stuff like that I'm measuring probably subconsciously during a date.
Yeah.
Or willingness to like show their energy or like, really be themselves and be vibrant, really open up.
Yeah.
That's probably like that I'm probably measuring. I don't know whether it's a turn off or like a no deal or a deal kind of thing. I have no idea.
Yeah. I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
No,
I just want to ask that. I want you take notes, ladies. Take notes because he's seeing people. He's on dates.
Giving hints.
On dates.
What was I gonna say? Oh, you know what I kind of like hope for you tomorrow? It'd be like a huge accident, like not terrible accident, not like hurt anyone hurt, but like the waitress coming out with waters, or you go to pick up your food, the bag falls out and just goes everywhere, and then it's like you got to be. It's like funny, so it breaks that persona that we put on.
Guys.
It's a happy accident, you know what I mean? And it's an icebreaker, a total icebreaker, I hope for that, because then everyone's loose, and then you connect on like who you really are, and then it's.
I hope so. I like
bueno.
Have I ever told you? I think there's a date I went on in New York. I feel like I've maybe told you this story.
Tell Mikey.
I went on a date in New York, and it was a girl. I was at a bar with my friend. It was like 4 a.m, and my buddy was like, "Fucking." Like just like might as well be passing out. I'm trying to have a conversation with him. He's like, "Yeah, whatever, dude." And I'm like, "All right." And it's me and him, the bartender, and 3 other girls in this very compact, small bar. And like to the point I can hear the conversation that these 3 girls are having. I'm like, there should be a moment in which like I say something to them so that we can be hanging out, or they say something to me. Like, how's it? Like, it's that small, you know?
Yeah.
And but there isn't. They just keep having conversation. I'm in a conversation with the bartender. And these girls are all super cute, and I was like, well, that's cool, but I'm like, whatever. It's 4 a.m, and I just really want to go home now. But I'm also. I'm having a conversation with the bartender, and he's real nice.
Red-blooded man. Red-blooded man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. So we're drinking. Girls leave.
That's New York City, baby. 4 a.m.
4 a.m. 4 a.m. Oh yeah, 4 a.m. We're drinking. I'm drinking still. They leave. The girls leave. Bartender comes up to me. He's like, hey man, you know, one of the girls left their number here for you.
Boom.
I was like, awesome, cool. Never happened before. Felt super awesome about it.
Wow.
And I was like, is she cute? What's she like? And he's like, she's awesome, super cute, blah, blah, blah. Great. Text her. I'm like, meet her at this bar. I don't know what she looks like. She comes in. We kind of noticed each other right away. She's an actress too, which I didn't know. It was like, great, something to connect on. Awesome. We talked about this thing. We're talking about plays right away. And then it like, there's also a level of like vulnerability that's like not like connecting. But in my head, I was like, oh, yes, we are. And then as the conversation went on, I was like, fuck, we're so not.
Oh,
and
no.
It's like 45 minutes in, and we're in this small, like kind of jazz club-ish dive bar place. And it starts to get, we're there when it's empty, but then it starts to get really crowded to the point where there's guys like literally like an old geezer like hovering over us.
I can't.
And he like, if he's like, he's by himself and he's like clearly listening to our conversation, but we're trying to just ignore that. And then like an hour in, he goes, the guy taps you on the shoulder. He's like, I'm sorry, I just have to ask, is this the first date? He asked me and this girl.
My God.
And I go, I'm like, oh yeah, we're just, getting to know each other. And he's like, and he goes, God, does not sound like it's going very well.
Oh my God.
Straight up. And he sort of meant it as like a joke. But the girl just went like, I forget her, Sarah was her name. And she just went, oh my God. Jeez. Like knowing that was the truth of the situation. And I'm also like, then I tried to like, hopefully see it as like an icebreaker. Like this funny moment we can acknowledge. And I think he meant it as a joke. And so, but I can see her face. She's just like, just so like, is so embarrassed. And the guy leaves.
That's great. Just says that and then fucking leaves. That's great.
Left. Devil. And he just left, and I think I had said something back, and then he just left. He was just like, "Have a good time, good luck." I think he said.
Oh my God,
thanks, buddy.
And she
go take a lap. Just go take a lap. That guy.
Take a lap, dude. And this and I go to the girl. I'm like, "Oh man, that was odd." And she was like, yeah, "No, I know." And I was like, should we just like take a shot to forget about? And she was like, no, I don't want to do that. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, hoping to like suggest something that like kind of like, forgets that we just need to go past that moment. And then that moment is just in our heads for like the next hour. And then we leave, never talk again. And it just totally like ruined a sense of like trying to connect with the other person.
Fuck, man.
I mean, meant to be, obviously, you move on, it's past, but it was just it was kind of hilarious.
I'm obsessed with this thought, like how dates work and don't work, how relationships are formed or just divert. You know what I mean? Like
that's the scariest part, man.
It's a chemistry thing, bro. Like, I don't. It's like you have to be vulnerable partially, right? Like you have to be able to open up a bit, and the other person has to as well and agree to that. But it's also like a dance. It's like, can you impress me? What do you bring to the table? Like if it's a guy and a girl, it's like usually the girl holds the keys to, are you impressive enough? Are you communicating well enough? Are you vulnerable enough? Like it's such a weird like mating ritual, dude. It's like a weird thing. I don't know. You say the wrong thing.
No,
and it's
no, for
chemistry's
sure.
gone.
Exactly. Especially from a woman's perspective, I think, who is definitely has like more of a right to, be a little more careful and judgmental of like, not judgmental, that's the wrong word, but just careful about like what this dude is.
Intentions.
And so like, you're just constantly being like you're constantly just on like a point scale of like, okay, 1 point for that. And, negative points for saying this. And like, oh, you went to the bathroom and you took this long, negative points, whatever. It's just like so stupid, but it's a lot of like fucking, and especially if like, Mike, I would say this for you, cause you're a pretty like open and sensitive dude. And I'm the same way of just like, when you're feeling judged, I would imagine you're like, you're self-aware enough to know when you're feeling judged. And that's constantly sort of like what's happening on a first date a little bit. If you're not relaxed, sometimes you get to a point where you can't get relaxed. Like that definitely happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes what's the worst? I got two things left. What's the worst date you've been on? Was it that one?
I think the one, probably, yeah.
Worst date you've been on, Mikey?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. Wait, are you going first or?
No, he did. He told this story just now. So that was his worst date.
Your
worst date ever.
Like first date or?
Yeah.
This was with someone I met off.
Worst date.
Someone I met off Hinge, and
wait a second.
You know about this shit, dude. Stop acting like you don't know anything.
I don't know this.
Yes, you do.
You went out on a date with a girl from Hinge.
Yes. We really want to, dude. Just stop.
Go ahead. Stop. Tell me. I'll tell you if you told me. Go ahead.
And I started seeing this person more often, and met her friend, would go over all this stuff. But
I know this.
But like it was like kind of like my first like longer kind of thing that happened from like a dating app date, and like the way it kind of like something like fizzles out, you know what I mean, is like the worst. So I hate the way you're looking right now, dude. So like I don't know. I mean, after a couple days, and then after some mistakes were made, and the last date was scheduled on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
I think last year, and we go out, and when you get in the car and you already feel it. I already feel it. I'm like, something's off. The conversations are, normally we're talking, but they're kind of cut off short. Blah, blah, blah.
Totally.
Dave just laughs at my suffering, dude. It's crazy. Dave just laughs at my suffering, bro.
God.
So we go to the restaurant where, it's just like, I'm like, all right, I accept it. I'm like, all right, it's probably done. And we literally just, we barely talk in the restaurant. I pay the dinner, and then we go drop her off. I'm like, oh, you want to go like inside watch a movie or something? She's like, nah, I'm just gonna go home sleep. I'm like, aight, have a good night.
But that's like
Oh, is it?
that's
That's
it.
I don't put myself in places where I'm gonna where it's I don't want to go through it like worse than that.
Yeah. You're careful about who you go on dates with. Yeah. I understand.
I think that's what I gotta do.
Yeah,
I gotta have more bad dates.
I think so, man. I think it'd be good for you. Because
I've had a couple. There's another story I just thought of that I can't tell. It's almost like too. It's like too controversial to say.
After this, when we end this, then you tell us.
Yeah, I'll tell you. It's crazy. It's like crazy shit. It's I couldn't believe the things that were coming out of this woman's mouth. But
goodness.
Hinge is really weird. I don't know. I'm waiting till we're in the home stretch here of of being able to live life at a kind of normal, hopefully, pace again. And so, and I really want to see and explore LA through like a much better lens when it comes to dating and seeing people. Like I've looked back on this past year or two, and usually there's like a sense of like, I measure. I measure the past year when I look back, and I don't tend to look back. I'm not that kind of person, like as far as like what I've learned or what I've done. Like I don't usually measure that in a really like deep way, just because it's the past and like past is the past, whatever. Usually I tend to like look back and like there's definitely like scrapbooks of memories that I have. A lot of those memories happen to be with like if I went on a date or a woman that I saw for a bit or had a relationship with, or maybe experiences at work or experiences with you, Dave, or this podcast, for instance, and like whatever. Just like, again, little photographs.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I wasn't like, the scrapbook was just empty this year because it's been just this house.
Yeah.
There's been no relationships. There's been really nothing going on. Like, I've visited some places, but and so it was really weird just going back on this. Just how it reminded me of just like relationships in general this year, and how dating has been really tough. Like, there's just no like, there's, no fucking scrapbook of like, oh man, this fight and this is how I felt in this moment when this girl said this. Like, not really any of that. Like, there have been like, there's stories. And that date that I will tell you about after this was from earlier this year.
It was. Okay, great.
But like, yeah, there's just no like, I don't know if you do that too, where like you have kind of like a scrapbook of things that happened, like just like a little.
Dude, my memories from last year, I think that like memorable things, memorable events, or what I probably have like count them on two hands. You know what I mean? Like, whereas, the scrapbook would be way fuller. And these other 2019, that was crazy. I mean, that scrapbook's full, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean, dude. It's just a little bit more empty, a little bit weird. Yeah, less events, less connections, less everything.
Yeah.
That's everything. It's so bizarre.
And in the same like, place,
whatever,
too.
Life is life, and everyone has that. But
yeah. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of benefits from this year, but it's like, fuck, like just the loss of a year where like the amount of memories and the amount of just like little moments that could be made, just unfortunately we're not, we're restricted to just. Or, we unfortunately can't live in life in which like we can't, have those kind of little moments.
Yeah, man.
Or we can, but in different ways, though, I guess.
Yeah.
But you were able to work on something with your family. You were able to create an event, right, with your family.
Yeah, which was cool. Yeah,
I want to talk about this, dude. Yeah. It was on the list. I want to talk. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So it's just like a short film, and it wasn't. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it was. It was based on this book called The Gorilla and the Bird, which is like one of my favorite books. I could fucking rant about it forever. It's about this man who suffers from, he's about our age, he suffered from the Truman Show syndrome, which is essentially like a really extreme version of bipolar.
Yeah.
In which you kind of think everyone around you it's extreme paranoia. You think that everyone around you has to do with your life in some way.
Right.
And it's about this man who woke up one day and I won't tell you sort of like the basis of how he got to this point. It's a really long story, but he basically woke up. He lived in New York. He was about 28. He was a lawyer. He was a defense lawyer for people who suffered from mental illness, ironically enough, and mainly for the immigrants. And he woke up one day. His family was they're all schizophrenic or all bipolar.
Oh man.
And so was really kind of prepared that this might happen to him. This might pass on to him.
He's 28 right now at this point.
Huh?
He's 28, you said, and this is all hitting him right now?
I think he is like 27 or 28 at this point. Yeah, and he's still trying to gather his life, and he lives in New York City. He's from Wichita, so he's like moved to this big place, and nobody in his family has done what he's done before. Everyone's just stayed in Wichita, so he's a little bit more open-minded to the world around him. And then he woke up one day, and he did stand-up comedy as well on the side, and he was sort of gaining some success with that. This man wanted to maybe make a show about him. He woke up one day, went outside, and believed that their cameras were on, and that people were following him, and that he was in an Ali G sort of television show in which like cameras followed him doing ridiculous things. So he went around New York City, and he literally describes in depth every street, every person that was on that street. and the things that he did, and it wasn't anything that was like so terrible. Like no one was hurt, nothing happened, but it's like this like heartbreaking moment by the end of it. But like as you're reading it, the stuff that he does is so funny, like it's hilarious, and the book hits like extremes of like super funny stuff, and he is really funny in real life. He just knows comedy, and then like you understand actually what's happening in a moment, and you're like, oh my god, this is heartbreaking. And I can, it's seeing a guy. It's just essentially describing my like, and it's comes from this first person perspective. So obviously like describing everything that's going on in his head at that moment and why he makes the decisions he does. And it's like, it's walking, like one of us walking down the street and seeing someone talk to themselves on the side of the road and like just being like, oh, that guy, whatever, moving on. Yeah. That's who this guy was. But he had all this success as a lawyer and as a stand-up comedian. So it was just like, so it's like really explores the idea of like, this thing that I knew might be coming into my life, harm me in my life. I didn't expect to be that person. Like getting COVID, for instance. Like if you get COVID and think like, I thought this would never happen to me. Yeah. It really explores that idea.
Right.
Anyway, it's one of my favorite books. It's amazing, and they're making a miniseries on it. And I know the dude who's directing it. Oh wow. And where my family does. And so my dad shot. We like rented equipment, and my dad directed me. Oh man! And I basically wrote out like kind of fictional and not excerpt moments from the book. Also created a story on my own. Mm-hmm. Basically, just trying to capture the essence of like his environment and and his character and who he was. It was like 6 pages of stuff, and the whole book also explores the relationship with his mom. The gorilla he is nicknamed the gorilla. His mom is nicknamed the bird, and the title Gorilla and the Bird. And so it explores the relationship he has with his mother, which is just like incredible. So the 2 scenes are basically like me talking on the phone with my mom, who Tori, funny enough, plays. And so I have to call her on the other line. But my mom, like, who's a makeup artist, did makeup for me, and she did my, there's this one scene where I'm manic, and then another scene where I can't fall asleep and I have to call my mom. And so she like made up my whole hair and my thing, and my dad like directed me in this, and in the like, I'm so like focused and kind of like trying to my best to balance like me being in and out of character, but the character's so deep, and it's like, so there's like a lot of exterior stuff going on, so it was hard not to like, but in the moment I was like, I just have to recognize right now that I am doing something with my mom and my dad. This is so wild.
How That's amazing insane. Is that, dude?
It was so cool. And my dad like me, funny enough, like anytime like he like he captured a moment or did anything, he was like psyched to the point as if he like just made the game-winning shot. He was like, "Fuck yes! That was perfect, yes!"
Dude, he's working with his son, capturing moments, dude. Wow. What more can you ask for?
Yeah.
It was awesome, and it was so fun to see him like have similar reactions that I do. Like when you kind of, as we were saying before this podcast, like that, getting those little moments of collaboration and trust, like, and like getting a real high from that. Like it was cool to see him like behind, because I've done like self tapes with him over the past year, and so we've gotten like where we do them together now because I'm living here, and so it's fun to like do that with him. But it's also like a lot of passive aggressive talking going back and forth. But like with this, it wasn't. It was super cool, and then my mom's just like sort of sitting there on the side, like, yes, it was very good, Nicholas. It was very, whatever.
That's incredible.
But it was so cool. It was, yeah.
I want to. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, but like that, I think that's a cool thing to talk about too within this project that you did with your family. Like, there's something to. All I know it really when I speak about it is acting and creating a story with a bunch of other people. You're living truthfully under imaginary circumstances, so it's an imaginary thing that everyone's engaging in, but it's very real. And it becomes like, for me, it's like one of the places I've experienced like the purest forms of love and connection in my life. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I know.
I don't know.
No. It's such a weird thing to talk about. Like, yes. Yes and no. I like you. Do you mean like in a moment when you're acting in a moment and you have that sort of?
I think that's what I mean. I think it's even in between moments. I think it's.
For me, it's in between moments.
Yeah.
There's definitely like a recognition, not as I'm doing it at all, obviously, or else.
Yeah.
I'd be doing a bad job. But there's definitely a recognition once I come out of it of like, well, that's I'm doing my job here.
Right.
Like this is.
Right.
You're experiencing in the moment is like frickin' real, and especially when especially when you get to the play. I mean that's the beauty of it. Once you get deeper and deeper, and stuff, basic whatever, textbook things of lines and movement and blocking and blah 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 are not factors anymore, and you're just there and present and feeling stuff differently. Yes, it's like it's super extreme stuff. And in that, like, I'll say this, like that there's one moment specifically that I'm thinking of in which I have to talk on the phone with Tori, and she's so good in it. Like her voice, like you just hear her voice on it, and it's just me the entire time talking on the phone, but she's like pure love coming out of her mouth. But I'm thinking of one moment right now that's like coming out of it, you have to like walk around for a second. Yeah, man. Like things get a little blurry, and you have to calm yourself. At the same time, also there's a sense, at least with me, where I'm like, once that happens, I'm like, well, this is a job. I'm having a lot of fun, and that was really kind of painful to go through just now. But like, but forget about it, move on, and if the people are happy and they respond to it well in the moment, then like, all right, then we're good.
I think like what I'm trying to say is, I think with when I say like love and connection, I think that means like joy to me. Like that is, I'm so overjoyed.
Yes, exactly.
Even though like the lines are blurred, like that, like things are blurry. Like in the midst, I think. There were like I'll take when we were working on the last short. I'll meet you there. I remember specific moments where like I had to be super vulnerable. I'd been filling myself up for months to live these moments as truthfully as possible with these people, and you go through a thing, and it's happening for the first time in front of you, and you're sharing it with people like that are around you that are doing their jobs. And I remember like going like to Jordan or you in between things, and I'm still like half in the imaginary circumstance, but I'm also connecting to Mike because I'm like so grateful, so vulnerable and open at this moment. Like it's as if you're at a funeral and you're reaching out for like a person you don't really speak to every day or whatever. It's like that.
Metaphor, Dave. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's like a vessel for like honesty and like connection, and you're all building a thing together, and if that's the temperature of the room, like if it is a vulnerable place, some sets aren't, but I think that if you're lucky enough, they are. The ones that I've been on, they have been, not all of them, but the ones I've kind of made with my buddies, like they are, and that's the time I think I enjoy the most. And I know that, it's also a job, and you also everyone has their job to do, but I think that's what I mean when I say like, I've experienced, even in rehearsals and stuff, even with collective stuff or outside of that, like that's where I experienced real beautiful, moments shared with people I may not know intimately, but I know intimately, like more than any person in the world right now, like what's going on with you, and more than anyone in the world what's going on with me. And I think that's so rare. It's just so unique. It's I don't know, man. I don't know. I remember those moments.
There's
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go. Sorry, I interrupted.
No. I think I'm just reiterating, like hugging you or Jordan in between like a thing where I walk off and I'm trying to like collect myself and like I'm like, man, I'm crying on Jordan's shoulder, you know, like I can't look you in the eye, you know, like or you know, Carlotta and me are just like fucking taking each other in for 10 seconds before, you know, like it's things like that are you're building a thing, you're creating a thing together, and it's significant because it's never going to happen again, and it's beautiful because it's fleeting, and it's like a case study for like vulnerability and in between people. If I don't know if that's the way it's built, you know.
I had the exact same. I think I only say it's a job because like I had the exact same moment with my dad where he was like. And luckily he's an actor, so he's sensitive to this stuff. But like it's such a good metaphor you just made of like being at a funeral and like not being able to like make connections with people because this thing is so painful or so is making you experience so much emotion that it's indescribable, which is what's so magical about being in a place like that is like you're in it, as you said, it's only yours, the only person that people are watching, yes, but like things that you're experiencing with that other person and that are being not said in the room as you're talking are like they get to be yours, and that's really like not only is it a fantastic feeling afterward, even watching it, if you're comfortable with that, is like it's also just also really amazing to watch. But then like, and also as you said, a rare feeling and something that we have to like. Or just a rare experience, rather, which is something that you have to be conscious of. But like, I only say it's a job as well because I think there's probably a lot of experiences on set where there's, you know, like that feeling of like you're in something so deeply, but also having to communicate with the people who are on that set.
Absolutely.
Sort of the difficult, like sometimes the weirdness of balancing that, which like. Yeah. Which I had the same feeling there. My dad would like give me like a couple directions, but like you need to like lift your head up more because I can't see you, and like just like basic stuff.
Yeah. Technical.
They're really technical that like aren't real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they don't give a sense of reality. Like you need to lift your head up so the camera can look at you or it can capture you.
Yeah.
Which like you're not focused. Like that's not your job. You're not like It's also like professionalism in general.
Right.
So like balancing that thing of staying in a moment and being there and like adapting to change millisecond by millisecond while also like having to be technical is really tough. Also, and I reiterate, I say it's a job because like there might be people who don't respond to how you're doing, like
very much, you know, you know
what I mean?
Yeah.
As you said, you know, every set is different, and so it's like, you kind of, you know, people just sort of like expect you to move on.
There's been sets, Nick, where
right.
There's been sets where it's like
you know what's so funny is as soon as you made the face, like you didn't even say there's been sets, and then I immediately knew what the fuck you were talking about.
Who's this kid? Who the fuck is this guy trying to connect on this set, dude? We got a job to do, you know. I've felt that before for sure, like a bit of a pariah or like a bit of an alien in a room full of people who know how to do it. They know how to do it effectively. It's not about that, and I respect that, dude. It's like a balance, I think, where I think you have to be able to work with people who know how to do the job and aren't very comfortable. You know, they don't. It's not about being friends or sharing moments for them. That's not their job, you know. But I do it on the sly, man. Sometimes
job.
I got better at doing it on the sly. I think of like. You know, like getting coffee with the dude who's lighting the scene, like, you know what I mean? And like, where you from, man? And it's like just small talking, and then I'm doing my own thing already. I got a full thing going on where we're best buddies. You know, where I know you my whole life. You know, crazy shit, but yeah.
It's tough to gauge. You know, it's so, you know, movie sets, theater sets, whatever they are, there's like a bunch of people who are just like there to do their job and get the fuck out. We're there to actually like enjoy moments and like, you know, and make connections. And so like obviously you'll have your perspective on what it is, but then to adapt to whatever it is on a daily basis is just super hard.
Yeah.
And really, disencouraging or really encouraging sometimes. And so disencouraging? Disencouraging.
No, I think that's right.
The word. So it's really, having said all this, like, we get to do what we love, which is what more than half the population of the world can say. Like, most people follow. I wouldn't say, like, we really take into I think all three of us take into, have the belief of, like, if you follow your bliss, things will work out the way they work out.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And if you're ready for stuff, if you're ready for the thing that you're following to come at you, to meet you, if you're ready for that, if you're ready, then it will.
Yeah.
But if you're not, then it won't. And you have to listen to your body on the way.
Yes.
And you have to listen to what your mind is telling you on the way there.
Yeah, man.
Become better at that.
Yeah, I was doing definitely. That's such an awesome tool to sharpen. I think to be able to listen to see the signs and listen to the body.
I think you have to. Most people don't go by that. Most people are inspired by either wanting a family, money, wanting things, which is fine.
Yeah,
like, because their idea of bliss isn't as full as ours, maybe. It's not like, I hate to say that, but it's like, not hate, I don't know. I'm still trying to, like, kind of play with that idea a little bit. Because
but I mean, their idea of bliss, it could be as full, but maybe it's just the thing that would bring them the most. The thing that they think will bring them most enjoyment, it just differs from our thing. So I was talking to my brother-in-law. I think this is why I wanted to bring this up too. He called me for a catch-up. We hadn't talked through COVID, and, like, we had this, like, hour-long. It was awesome. And he said, "You know how lucky you are, man?" And I said, "What do you mean, bro?" And he goes, "Dave, you know what you want to do." He's like, you've been blessed with that. Like, you somehow, life has either given this to you, you've listened to, whatever, you stumbled into it, or God granted it to you, or whatever you want to believe, but you have a clear-cut idea of what you want to do with your life, like the thing you want to actively do and pursue. You know it. There's no question. That you're very lucky. He goes, I don't have that. Like, a lot of people do not have that. And you could take it for granted. That alone separates you from a lot of people. Where some people know they want to have a family, and it's like, I'll do it. Then it's like us, by any means, we'll make our own thing. We'll put ourselves on tape with our father directing us and our mother doing our makeup and Tori on the phone. We're gonna make it happen. And if it's not this time, it's the next time.
Yeah.
But with them, maybe with someone who is family centered and family oriented, like, and that's the cap on what will give them their bliss. Like, then they'll do whatever it takes to make that happen. But I think. When he said that, it just, like, woke me up to it again. I was like, oh man, I hadn't thought of that. I get caught in my own hamster wheel sometimes, and I forget, like, blessed, exactly. Totally blessed to know in my DNA, in my blood, that is what I want my life to consist of. That is what I will pursue to do with these hands and this heart, like, forever. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
So
and
we're
it's
lucky.
A challenge, and it's a challenge, right? It's a bigger challenge, and I think that's what's so attractive to it. And I think what we talk about all the time, and is obviously there's no formula for how this is done, and how making a career, like making money off this thing, is done. It just sort of happens and it comes to you. So it's
right.
So because of that, it's real challenges, and I think, like, it's so because we are so joyed to do a thing that should and does, but, like, should for most people, and probably from other people's perspectives, like, cause us a lot of pain simultaneously sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it's just a really weird mixture of. I think just because it's a. again, everyone has their bliss. Everyone has the thing that wakes them up every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just are good with waking up and finding out whatever it is, or to have like such a high purpose is really, it's not something that needs to happen, but it's really unique.
Yeah.
It's a high sense of purpose. It's really, it's super rare.
It's a tough thing, man. That's a lot of people do not have it. And like, I don't know if they missed it or they didn't listen to their body telling them, go through here.
I think about this all the time too. Yeah.
It could be that.
Whether they missed it or exactly.
Or they stay away from it and they know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But it also could be that thing of like, you didn't listen to your body tell you this, but there is an existential sort of whatever thinking like, you're not ready for this. This is unfortunately not above but you'll be here. And because you didn't know that you weren't ready for this necessarily, what you get and what you are eventually strive for will make you super happy.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Eventually.
I think it's important to think that it'll never like, you can always, there's always like, there's no, like it's too late. Or,
no.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like it's eternal,
As long as you're breathing.
So that's the thing I've been sort of like, it's definitely something it's just like the ticking clock of it all. Like, when is it late? When is it not late?
Yeah.
I'm just under the belief, man, if like, especially this year, I haven't been able to like, the things that usually bring me joy, reading books, watching films, things like that I'm trying to do on a day-to-day basis haven't because I think it's just been a stressful year.
Yeah.
I think I've idealized, really being as productive as possible, thinking that if I do these things, it will get me to this place.
Yeah.
Which is like not a good way to think. It's just watching these films, reading these books will help me prepare for if I get to this place.
Right.
That's why I do them. Which is true, but it's like, but also enjoy them as you do them.
Yes.
Like, don't do them because they'll help you prepare.
Yes.
You don't. You fail the assignment that asks you to read 20 pages of a textbook because you have to read 20 pages of a textbook. Like, invest in these 20 pages of a textbook that you're reading,
right?
And try to enjoy them as you're doing it. If you don't, you don't. Whatever. But like, try to find interest. Try to find some sort of like thing that makes you think, oh, well, I never thought about something that way before.
Yeah.
And so there's been a lot of like trying to enjoy, trying not. I had a point with this, but yeah, now it's. But yeah, I think because, I guess I've just realized like I've been very self-involved this year and very selfish with like what I'm doing, what's best for me. And my mom and dad, I funny enough like had a big rant to my mom and my dad about this, what I was feeling, what I was going, which is such a gift to like be able to like rant these open things to them. And my dad was basically like, so great. Like, where's the humility, man? Like, where's the, like, know where you are, like, enjoy where you are.
Be present, baby. Be present.
Yeah, it was just like almost, and he said it like, fuck off. Like, I know this is tough. Like, and you can have points like this. Like, you are allowed them for sure, but like, don't like think you have to like, don't pressure yourself to be something. Just like enjoy the things you're trying to enjoy and listen to whether you are actually enjoying them or whether you're not enjoying them anymore.
Yeah.
And now I've gotten to a place where I'm like, just completely like free of thought as far as how this goes, which has been, I'm sure it'll like come back to me eventually, as it always does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and I have to relearn this fucking thing all over again. But, but it's been really nice. And but I say this because like as far as the ticking clock goes, I think that was really stressing me out and thinking like it's too late or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whatever. I don't care about too late or not too late. Like, I enjoy these things on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Art and living vicariously through art makes me really happy.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And doing it by myself and sharing it maybe, and hopefully sharing it with someone eventually will, that'll make me even happier.
Yeah.
But like, really, like, just, you see a movie, be inspired by it fully and wholly. And like, when you read a book and read a quote, like, want to talk about it, be inspired by it. If it brings you inspiration and a sense of writing, then let it. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. And just like, and letting life listen, or listening to life when it comes to you.
Yeah.
It's been a really, like, I've had this really, but yeah, anyway, I meant to say this just because I thought about the ticking clock. And then when I thought about sort of living life this way, which sometimes it happens on a really, like, there are good days and bad days of doing it, but like, there's no ticking clock anymore.
Hey.
There's no, that doesn't just like exist.
Yeah. You know what? It's like when the song is playing, like, of life, like, to really listen. You know.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
To really listen. It's not about
yeah.
where are we going after the song, who was the composer,
yeah.
I got to make a song like that, or I'm nothing. It's like, enjoy the song. Enjoy the song. Dance to the song, if you feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tricky thing, Nick Craven.
I know.
It's a tricky thing, bro. This.
It's a real tricky thing.
Yeah.
It's about relearning it and doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, in every aspect of whatever you do, you're just relearning things constantly and seeing it. Expanding perspective is probably a better word for it. It's just like
expanding.
A better phrase for it.
Yeah, yeah.
And what this thing is, I have done multiple self-tapes this year, in which I have been told myself in the moment, like, you're not fucking listening to anything that's happening. You have made choices.
Self-tapes are their own animal, dude. It's so fucking typical.
Yeah, but like, you're not like here. You're not. The humor or the whatever it is you're trying to achieve will come out of like
the moment,
out of the little moments where you're listening.
Yes,
to each other.
yes. Absolutely.
Do that. I had this experience the other day with my dad, funny enough, who made this rant, and I was like, right. And I got all self-conscious because I was like, telling me shit I already know, So I'm like, fuck off. Like, I know this. Like, I know that I had to relearn it, but like, whatever. And he's my dad, and he's an actor too. Like, I hate like hearing shit that I already know from him. Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely,
sometimes I get a little insecure about that, but like, anyway.
What's something you would tell yourself, dude, if, like 5 years from now, like future Nick, 5 years ahead? What is something you would tell that Nick who he can listen to this right now, dude? Like, and he'll play it and he'll listen back. What is something you hope to tell that Nick?
As in 5 years
from today, like
5 years
in the future.
Ago?
No. So you're
5 years from today.
You're in the future, and you're playing this tape right now. 5 years in the future. What is something you hope that, or what's something you'd want to tell that Nicky BALLGAME?
Tough. Yeah. That's a tough question, dude.
Hey,
that's like
I gotta trust my instinct,
even know if
dude.
That like makes sense.
We can all do it. Why doesn't that make sense?
Like, what would I tell myself?
I'm 5 years into the future.
You're 5 years into the future.
Self tell myself right now?
No. Let's rewind. Let's just imagine that didn't happen. Okay.
I don't know.
What would you tell your future self?
Your future self?
In 2026.
Oh.
What would you tell 2026 Nicky BALLGAME?
Right.
Okay. Maybe it's a reminder. Maybe it's a hope. Maybe it's some kind of story. Maybe something you want to remember. What would it be? This is my show, dude. We're big time now, Nick Craven. We're big time now, dude. We're all about the moment, baby.
I think probably like, and this is something I try to remind yourself. Remember where like real, genuine like love comes from. Whether it's from people or things, just like remind yourself of where those things come from.
Hey,
constantly be surrounded by that.
Okay.
Reminding myself of where love sits with me, where I love and what things love me.
I love that.
I think.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's good.
I I think so. I think that's, if I've learned anything, especially this year, just like loving, experiencing love wholly with sacrifice and with pain, but also with like joy is a great feeling.
Yeah.
And and just like surrounding yourself by that always. I think so. I think that's what I would say.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Good answer.
I'm having that moment where like, you need to say the right thing here, Nick.
This is a self tape, and you're not listening.
Exactly.
No, that's a great answer, dude. Future Nick's gonna say thank you right now for that one.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Oh man, I would say, dude, I'm very proud of you. I love you very much, and oh man, how about like, you've already done great. You're already doing great. You're already exactly where you're supposed to be, man. And I love you very much. And that's it. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
I would tell myself, I think it'd be a question. Be what? I think from today, something sparked my mind where it's like, what do you care about or what do you love doing? Like, what are the things you still love doing, and what like right now, like in this time, like look at what you loved doing back then or what you thought was the thing, and like compare.
You're taking an inventory.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. I like that, Mike.
You know what? Because the thing you were talking about, where how you were like, how your cousin called you and he said like you found, like you have your thing.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've always like was growing with like the like I have many different like things I can do, and I'm not like a master at one of them, but I love like all these things, and I'm happy to do them all in some capacity.
Yeah.
Like whether it's photography, music, film, editing, whatever. Like I can dip my hands in many pools.
Yeah.
But to actually like be like, dude, this is the thing, like this is the one thing that scares me.
It scares you. Yeah.
Like I don't know if I can commit to one thing.
I think it scares most people.
Yeah. And I don't know. I wonder if that'll change.
Maybe.
Or if that's just the person I am.
I only liked it. Like I only thought I would like ever do acting ever.
Yeah.
From 20 to
that was your like saving grace,
For sure. But like poetry came into my life, and that's like a new thing, and like writing that, and also writing. I wanted to talk to Nick real quick about that too, bro. Like the writing thing, but I never thought I'd put pen to paper and like take it serious. It was to write was like to make a thing that I believed in, because I was inspired by other things that people wrote that they believed in, that they were in, and I wanted to be in a thing so I can act and also like experience that. And that's why writing started. But that now it's like, reading about writing has been the thing, and then also writing poetry or writing screenplays. Yeah, man. That's
reading about writing.
Yeah. I love it now. I'm on that Egri book, dude. The Art of Dramatic Writing. That's been like my Bible.
I currently have Robert McKee's story right beside me, which I've read and now look through on a day-to-day basis.
There you go.
I'm just like, oh, it's so smart, man.
Yeah.
So smart. I love writing. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When I write, there is a sense of like, I don't know where exactly it comes from yet. I might have an idea of where it comes from. I don't think I enjoy it the most when I'm writing. I don't. But there is definitely, it's a different sort of feeling, and like when I get to I think when I'm imagining, especially when I'm writing, like when I'm creating a world, I think is what I'm really attracted to. You can do that through being, obviously getting to know the world around you and creating it for yourself is something an actor does as well. But like, I think like when you're fully like, and then when you also get to, like, I was writing the scene the other day, and it took place on this street in the West Village in which that like whenever I walk by, I have this like really magical feeling of like existential feeling of like just peace and calmness, and because it's quiet, there's no one really on it, and it also like the buildings that are around it kind of look fake.
Okay.
They don't like it looks like nobody is in them ever.
Yeah.
It looks like it's just like it looks like it looks like it was maybe historical once, but it's not. It's where the Cherry Lane Theater is. I don't know if you've ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But I was just writing about that the other day, and there was like a lot of like, just like coming from me. Like I didn't say any of the words that like, there's no interaction between the characters as far as like the dialogue of what the street meant to them. But a lot of like what was being like the sense of like being on that street came from my feeling of being on that street. And I was like, this is fucking super cool. Like trying to like creating this and creating these two characters and where they come from and worlds for them.
Yeah.
While also putting this personal thing into it and creating this like really magical feeling that like, you know, that is really real. And hopefully I don't know what I'm doing with this thing, but like, but there is a sense of like, oh, this is really different from acting. I can't get this feeling from acting, unfortunately, because it's not. There is ultimately like words written and a responsibility to serve, and here you're not serving anything; you are creating something.
Right.
In a more pure sort of way.
Right. I see.
It comes from nothing.
Yeah.
In other words, acting comes from something.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there is like, I was just thinking about this the other day. I was like, this is the amount of freedom I have to say whatever I fucking want.
Oh yeah.
Like, what? I mean, wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I get obsessed with like the idea of like premise and like how if I have a conviction about a thing, like a question that you can pose that's arguable, like, you know, it does selflessness lead to redemption? Like if I made a story, selflessness leads to redemption, and that's my premise. Like I get to take a side, you know, I get to say, well, as Dave, you know, at 30, for sure, like that, I believe that in my core, and like I'm willing to prove that through story. Like I get excited about that, and then that's where like an inspirational like spark of a story comes from for me. That's when like my imagination will start running. Is, you know, because it's like, why do you want to tell a story? There's many reasons, you know, you could have a million reasons why. But I think a good story, like the crafting of a good story, putting pen to paper and attempting to write a good story, for me is like, I would like to, the best stories that I've ever experienced have had like these strong premises that they stick with you, and you just fucking, you can't forget them, you know, you just can't. You can't forget like The Boy Who Cried Wolf. You just can't. You know what I mean? Like that is that like, I don't know. It's the premise being like lying leads to destruction, and you're like, oh yeah, well there he gets fucking eaten by wolves, you know, like an Uncut Gems. Like the premise is so clear, and the creativity of how to craft a world and how to have really, really well crafted characters who have like an undying like need to accomplish a thing, and these obstacles get in the way, and we're proving or disproving our premise by the end of this thing. And you can agree or disagree, but that's what we're attempting. Like, it's just so cool, man. And it's so personal, like you said. It's so. I feel like everything that I've written. I don't know if you feel this way, but like when you're making a character, we were talking about Danny about this last week. But like, I feel like every behavioral thing like a character does, it's like you fill the character with like a part of your soul a bit, like a part of you. And then you allow it to like move on its own, and it's like, what would he do here? You know, what would he do if all of a sudden like a car accident happened in front of him and people were like, you know, rolling around on the street? Like, what would he do realistically? And it could do a million things, but I love the endless possibility of it, and like it does scratch like a creativity itch that I can't quite reach, especially with acting in quarantine. I don't know if I'd be writing a feature if I've been, you know, booking for the past year and change, but I'm glad I'm like where I'm at right now, because I'm liking learning. I'm just enjoying really learning, dude. Instead of just being a one-trick pony, you know.
Yeah, I am too. Again, like, yeah, it's just something that can fill up the day. And
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, from like just like a practical standpoint, I'm like, but I am also, but yeah, I'm also enjoying it. I so know that feeling of like having the freedom to like measure what this person would do or not do in this situation, and to ultimately know, like, for me, I definitely have the mindset of like every character, regardless of how minor or major they are, should have their own, like, could have their own film made about them within this story. Like, there's this sense of like, that's how specific it needs to be, and to like measure that specificity within those little moments.
Right.
Is really cool. Anyway, but
yeah, Nick, I think your webcam might have turned off. Can you like reset it?
oh shit.
Just,
That's crazy.
I think if you
right
close, what do you have to do?
It's so funny. You guys smiled at each other. I was like, what did I say?
Well, you know what's cool about it too. There, he's back. You know what's cool about it too is like you find your voice. You know, you find your way of expressing,
finding
you know?
it, always finding it.
Yeah, man.
I just wrote out like a outline. It was the first thing I ever wrote. I'm trying to experiment and like really get into the heart of a brother-sister relationship, just the heart of it. Yeah. And it's based on, nothing is based on what me and my sister have gone through, but the heart of it is certainly there.
Yeah, yeah.
The idea of like loving and knowing each other so well as children, and also hating each other, which love essentially is. And then as you grow older, and like sometimes not even knowing who the other person is and what their soul has grown into.
Yeah.
Sort of just like experimenting with that a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. Not all of them are the same way. Everybody has their own experience of what that is.
Yeah.
I think because I you know, and I'm not doing it for the idea of universal. I'm just like, this is something that should be talked about, and especially within a sense of like youth, growing up with one another, and like in a sense of youth and being in your young 20s and growing up as well, how important it is to stick with family, and how, you know, how there's still blood, and like how, you know, just because you're different, you shouldn't separate. Like, you should enjoy those differences. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love
it. It does matter.
Yeah, but it was it's just been really cool. But I wrote down, that's what I was gonna say, I wrote down like a whole outline for this. And like where I was going to go, the questions I was asking in each kind of moment, how it would resolve, if at all, you know, how it's just like in a short sense, like what is this, like a tale, like in a sentence, like what is this, just like just a short story, what would it be a tale about, you know, like, you know, it's about, you know, a brother and sister getting to know each other. That's it. That's what how, and fulfilling that. It's just the best feeling. I'm so happy to get and being able to learn about it. Just it's so much fun. Now we're just talking about writing as a craft.
Hey man,
that's right.
Also, writing is so fucking hard.
Oh my god, dude! I was just saying that today.
I don't know how to do this shit.
It's so difficult, dude. It is so difficult.
So hard.
It is like formulas to it, and you follow them and whatever, but you got to break rules as well. Like there's, I had this thought, like, am I just like high on my own supply? Like I'm just so on fire about this thing I'm writing, and it's like just gonna be fucking terrible because, you know, you know what I mean? Like, but maybe it's just to serve me. Maybe it's just my own thing. The hope is that I could share it because it's personal, and you know, I hope it moves somebody, and that's why I do it. But like, maybe not. Maybe I'm way off. And I was battling like this thing with the homie Adam, and we were talking about today, and we were like, you know, at some point, you gotta either sink or swim. Like, you gotta jump, and it's gonna either fly or it's gonna just fucking nosedive, you know. But I'm rather keen to like jumping. I want to jump real bad, you know, and just see, because otherwise, you wrote a thing and it's beautiful, you know, but like, I guess that's you can ask any artist, like, is it art if it's not shared? You know what I mean?
Asking the tough questions. You are here.
The hard-hitting questions at the You Are Here podcast for Nicky BALLGAME.
Hard-hitting questions. I mean, I'm under the belief that it is, but like everyone has their own, you know, I mean, I think that's what makes the world go. I mean, and I think it has to be. Like, if you put it under the definition of art, whether it's for you or for someone else, whether it's a journal entry or not, like, it is helping you, it's assisting you. I think, I die for this thing. And so, like, yeah, I am. If it's shared, it's shared. It's great. Like, take that leap.
Yeah.
I'm under the belief as well that, like, Scorsese, when we fucking watched the Oscars, I'll never forget this, when we watched the Oscars together.
Oh,
at,
yes.
Aaron's house.
Shout out Aaron Johnson. Yeah.
And yes, and Parasite won for Best Picture, right?
100%.
Didn't we watched that, right?
Yes.
And Bong Joon-ho gave that speech and shouted out Scorsese, and he referenced it, which was just so cool to watch. And he referenced that quote saying, all art, I forget what it is. It's essentially like, the more personal the art is, the better it will be always.
Yeah.
Whether you decide to share that or not is up to you.
Yeah.
But to keep looking inward, the text, the actual, the actual, like, structure of it and accomplishing that, like, that's just like a written, like, by biblical, like, this is just the guideline. This is how you do this.
Yeah.
Take it. You can manipulate it if you want. Tarantino manipulates structure to which I just watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood again the other day, and I'm like, how does that come out of his brain?
Man.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
About specificity.
He's a
with
genius,
people.
dude. He's a
Jesus.
genius. He's a genius.
That movie is also just so hopeful. I was smiling throughout the whole thing. It's so great.
Yeah.
So good, man. Anyway, but if you can just have the structure, if you can understand structure and and themes and questions and what you're trying to, and dialogue, how dialogue should be written, what causes conflict, what doesn't, just basic whatever.
Yeah.
The hardest part is being personal with it.
Yeah. It is.
Not hardest part, I think probably the biggest battle.
Yeah.
You want to make that share.
Being honest, dude. I mean, that's the struggle. It's like, are you being honest, or are you going like
exactly.
a few inches deep, or are you going the full Monty?
Yep. Are you being honest?
Yeah.
I am constantly battling that.
Dude, it's a constant struggle with just checking yourself. I've realized over the years, dude. It's you can very easily become jaded with like, I know myself. I know what moves me.
Yeah.
I know what I care about. Like, I don't know. Maybe journal a bit. Let's see. Let's test it. Let's really put the microscope on you and see what really moves you, man. Don't judge it. Don't judge yourself. What is it? What's moving you? What's pulling at you? What is hurting you? I think it's a constant look at yourself, dude. It really does take. It's like that Scorsese quote. I really believe that.
It's really hard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
that's the job.
It's really hard.
That's the job, homie.
That's the job, man. But that's the thing is like, fuck, do I love doing that?
I love it too.
So great.
It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. Yeah.
That moment I described of like having that moment, my dad calling me out and that shit, and thinking like, fuck.
Yeah,
that's what's going on right now.
Bro, how about this? If it was for everyone, if everyone was meant to do that, we wouldn't have jobs.
Right. Wouldn't have jobs.
There's no point of a story if like everyone's already checking in on themselves. The stories that I've experienced are when I was like, I didn't know who the fuck I was, and I experienced the thing, and it was like, oh my God, I just woke up to this thing in my chest that just moved, and I felt it move, and like, what was that? I wasn't investigating myself, but now that I am, like, even so, it still serves. But I think I'm talking about for like the people that aren't inclined to like do artistic ventures. If they are the family people, if they are the 9-to-5ers, if the others, the athletes, the music, whatever. That when they experience like a personal share from a person, like an actor who's dug around and really found a thing, or a writer who's like read or someone read like an Arthur Miller play and they never knew what a fucking play was, and like in All My Sons or something, like that'll change you, man. That'll wake you up.
Yeah.
I gave him Beyond the Horizon. I remember he's like, what the fuck is this?
Man.
What is this? And that's just a personal piece of work. It's a beautiful piece of writing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
no,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it, and yeah, like, I mean, letting something inspire you. Like, I just watched there's this movie, fucking. I literally just had the thought. I was like, oh, love watching movies at night and doing it and being able to be inspired by them. I just got so wrapped up in the feeling of being inspired by this film I watched last night.
What was it?
It's called The Naked City.
Okay.
It's Jules Dassin is the director's name, who is this like indie director from the 40s. My friend told me about him, who's like, this dude is like the biggest film nerd I know. Has watched everything from like Agnes Varda, everybody, everyone from every country. But he told me to watch this movie. It was about New York City in 1948, which in 1948, I think there was something about New York that was going on, essentially causing it to be like really empty.
Okay.
Hence why it's called The Naked City. I forget exactly what was going on. He told me, but it starts out. Oh, it was so fucking cool. I can't suggest this movie more to people who like love New York and also like love the. It's so essentially it starts out. I'm gonna movie nerd for a second, real quick. It's this like helicopter shot of New York City and whatever, but the producer of the film. Producer is the narrator, and he says, I'm the producer, and he says, I'm the producer of the film. My name's Mark Herdberg or something like that. Mark Harms, I don't know. And this is called The Naked City. This is a story about this. There are people who are upset by having to stay the late shift at the museum as a janitor. This story is not about that. Mm-hmm. There are people who are radio DJs who do this. This story is not about that. He lists all these people, and he was like, the story is about this woman right here. And it starts off with a woman being carried into a bathtub after she had just been murdered.
Oh, my God.
And he says, this is a story about her. There are 8,000 million, I think he says 8 million. There are 8 million stories in the world that have taken over New York City on a day-to-day basis. But this story is about this woman, and like in the most pure, truthful way, with like conflict between characters and relationship and all of that stuff. It just describes them solving the murder of who killed this woman.
Oh man!
But it tells it in like in a way of like if you'd read it in a newspaper. Okay. Like you're reading, it's like as if you read the story in a newspaper and just imagined it.
Yeah.
Like it's like the closest thing to death, that, and that's how it was shot. And it ends off, and you're invested because the story and there's specificity with these characters. There's also this one actor, now my favorite old movie actor. I forget his name. He was so brilliant in it though, and he. It starts off, you're invested, you're watching this, and then they solve the murder. They arrest the guy. And then the producer of the movie says, I'm Mark again. It's Mark here. This is one of the 8 million stories of all the stories that happen in New York. Night. Man. And then it just ends.
Wow.
I was like, oh, how cool.
Very unique, dude. Very unique, especially back then.
Very unique. It's the same way I felt about, funny enough, before the Sunset Trilogy, the later stuff, which I know you love and I love so much. But
I can't geek out with you on that because I'll be here for another fucking hour. That they're unbelievable to me, dude.
Yeah,
they're truly unbelievable to me.
You got me on that too.
Yeah, they're unbelievable.
Amazing.
Yeah, right. When you watch them for the first time, isn't it like just to watch time pass and strictly two people and over a day?
I was literally, I watched them all. I watched the first one, and then I was like, I gotta watch the rest. Like I can't not.
Oh God, Linklater's a genius.
And
dude.
I was just sitting there like looking like the whole time. Like, what the fuck?
It's like you're a voyeur. It's like you're watching two people. First off on a first date, essentially. Then 9 years later, after a fucking crazy, separation and new forms of life, coming back together and just seeing what they do. Oh God. Before sunset, when he's this, oh God, I highly recommend whoever's listening, please go watch these movies. They're really worth it. The Before trilogy by Richard Linklater. It's so palpable between them. They're such filled out characters, and it's not only like
so filled out.
They're so filled out so well, but we know that. We've experienced that in the last film. We know what they are. We know who they are to each other, and we're finding out as the film goes who they are now. And I think the scene where she goes to hug him after they get out of the cab because she doesn't know what to do and he doesn't know what to do, and like he's trying to walk her to the door, and is it going to be another 9 years, I guess, or lifetime? We don't know. We're never going to see each other again. And she hugs him, dude. It was like, and she asked him if he is gonna dissolve into 1 million particles or whatever, and he's like, I think you're doing okay. It was like this. You have to set up that kind of moment. That has to be earned. That can't be cheated in any kind of way. You know?
Exactly. And that's what's so brilliant about him, is that the structure behind that, like, you don't watch. People who don't know movies, like, haven't studied as a craft, and that's no knock on anybody, but people who just, like, haven't read about, like, we're writing about or reading about writing.
Right.
Like, they just think it's, like, these guys, you know, they think, like, they're just talking in a room, and, like what's the big deal? Am I supposed to invest in here?
What's the big deal? Yeah.
People might think, oh, fuck, and then obviously, as we know, like, there's that hidden structure of, you know, why you do get invested, and like why, and, you know, that, again, it has to do with that ticking clock of, you know, especially before sunset, of him leaving before
that plane, dude.
Yeah, exactly, and before his plane, but like there's, it's just so good, and essentially, the personal thing is, you know, like you said, it's the first date. It's just like there's one line in it that I love that I actually, funny enough, just was reminded of. I think it's in the first one that he says. It's definitely in the first one that he says it, but basically saying, like, it's along the lines of, like, I don't think there's anything more magical than making a connection or something. Along those lines. Yeah,
I think Julie said something like that too, where she was like, one of her lines was, I think there's nothing more truly magical than the attempt of people trying to connect. Not necessarily if it succeeds or not, but the attempt, you know?
Attempt, which is essentially what this is about. And it's like, I mean, it's just like, this is two people attempting because there's something to invest in there. Like, they see each other and know that they're like, it's the same feeling of, like, looking at someone and thinking, like, I don't know how you're important to me yet, but you are important to me.
Yes.
I can tell. Like, that feeling.
Yes.
Like, I can tell if I would meet you, I would like you.
Yes.
And that we're going to get, you know, whatever. It's just that. It's fucking.
That's what I mean when I speak about acting, dude, and that love, and in the creating of a thing together. I think that's the thing we do, is we make an attempt to connect. You know, that's like kind of the job. And I think there is magic there, dude. I don't know. That's all I've ever felt is magic in that fucking experience. But another thing about that film, all those films, they had a hand in the writing process, bro. Those actors, you see it in the behavior of you know, the way they're in a car together, the behavior between, like, you know, there's no words that are gonna explain what each person is feeling more than their behavior. And, like, they're afraid to, one is reaching out to touch, and then she pulls back. She's like, I can't. This is fucking crazy. But you know, the attempt of, like, her behavior in that moment is like this brave, awkward, fucking confusing. But, like, I think I'm in love with this. Like, this is my soulmate, maybe, and I'm gonna miss it. He's gonna get on the plane, dude. It's littered with that. Yeah. It's littered with it. Of what if we miss this? This could be it. This could be it. This could be it. And you know it feels that way. We're not talking about it. And I know it feels that way. And I'm trying to say it, but I don't want to be too forward, and I don't want to throw you off or scare you away. But, like,
that's why I don't get how you write that.
It's
like,
genius,
what
dude.
do you do?
It's genius.
Yeah. I don't get it either. And it's Linklater has this one quote that's always stuck with me, and it's so, like, he clearly so believes in it, and I do too. But, like, he has built a career off this. He's like, it was something like, if there's a feeling that you have for yourself, and you know that there are emotions behind it that are familiar to other people, if the moment might be like you looked over, or there's a bird in the sky and you watched it kind of disappear, but there was an emotional thing that was happening to you.
Yes.
No matter what, you can put that somewhere.
Yeah.
People will familiarize themselves with it. Like, people will grab onto that.
Yeah.
Because it's not the moment. The the actual moment that's happening. It's everything else that's happening.
Oh God.
Which is what these movies are all about.
Bro, that's what they're about. That's what they're about. You go to the first one. You go to the first one again, and they're in a graveyard, and you see the image of two young possible lovers, in a graveyard, and you're like, he's flashing right before our eyes, like this juxtaposition of these potential lovers will end here at some point. And there is an element of time in this room right now, like, you know what I mean? Like it's established in a shot. And I remember it struck me, and I was like, why would he take us to this is supposed to be a romantic thing, and she's dragging him to a graveyard, and they're talking about, like, all kinds of stuff. But, like, this image is jarring for me. I don't like it. The reason I don't like it is because I know where they're headed, and, like, he's showing us that in this weird way. She's uncomfortable with it, too. And, death before it even begins, like, that could happen. That could happen. It was such a cool fucking, but it's going off that bird in the sky thing you're talking about. I think for me, that was like the thing for me. I think when Richard put that in, maybe that he had the same kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, I think that's really. There's this movie I watched that kind of has that same sort of mentality going to it. That came out this year called Shithouse. Have you seen Shithouse?
No, I haven't.
Well, both of you would love it, but it's two college kids. One kid who is kind of like an awkward. I think he's a freshman who hasn't really found his place within the community of college yet. Really missing home, has a good family life, and is really missing it.
Right.
The girl is the RA of his freshman dorm building, and they somehow kind of find a connection with each other in this way. And the whole movie is just like 6 hours of them spending the night together, walking around campus, talking. Yeah. Very similar.
Very Linklater.
Very super Linklater, but it takes place within specifically a college campus. But the dialogue also, what's so impressive about it is that the kid who stars in it also wrote it and directed. First thing he's ever done.
Whoa.
And he did it. But the dialogue that's going on between them is like so, not only so specific, but like so of that, not the generation.
Okay.
Of the generation that he's talking about.
Yeah.
And it is about falling in love, but it's much more than that. It's just the fear. It's all about the fear of getting to know someone.
Wow.
And it especially comes from her perspective, she's brilliant in the movie. I forget the actress's name, but it's really cool. You should check it out.
I will. Got it. I definitely will.
On Amazon.
Nicky.
It's Craven. A terrible title. Like, the title "Shithouse" does not serve.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this is a frat movie or something.
Yeah. Well, they in the movie they go to a frat house.
Got you.
And it's called Shithouse.
Got you.
But the whole movie is essentially making fun of. But again, it's also like, oh my God, another great Linklater film. Did you ever see Everybody Wants Some? The movie Everybody Wants Some?
No.
It's the sort of the sequel to Dazed and Confused. I don't know if you watched Dazed and Confused.
I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah, but it's, oh my God. It's maybe like one of the most important. I have a poster for it right above me. It is one of the most important movies of my life. Of my life. I don't know why I said it like that. Of my life. So it's so good. Yeah. But first of all, Linklater said himself, and I'm so happy he said, he's like, it's maybe structurally one of the better movies I've ever made.
Wow.
It came out really recently, and it's about a group of guys who all play baseball in the first days of college together. The college thing reminded me of this. The first days of college together, it's about specifically from this one guy's perspective who's a freshman coming into this like senior house of baseball players and just like masculine competitive energy, fitting into college, thinking that you belong to something as soon as you get there, but maybe discovering that there might be a different path for you along the way as far as your college experience goes. Find self-discovery, hanging, and then but it's so funny, and it's all about male camaraderie, especially between baseball players, just like pulling pranks and fighting each other and fucking drinking beer and just getting super fucked up and trying to get chicks. It's fucking awesome. It's my most rewatchable film. Wow. I die with this movie.
Wow.
Put me on a desert island, you make me watch one film for the rest of my life, it's this movie. Wow. I think there's no doubt.
Wow.
It's so great. Everybody wants them. Richard Linklater. You'd recognize a lot of the people who are in it. There's like a lot of kind of young character actors who are in it.
Yeah. I'll check it out. I haven't seen it.
It's also just like the most hilarious movie I've ever seen. It's so fucking funny.
Dang, dude. Thanks for the recommendation. Thank you for the recommendation, dude. I'm excited to watch it.
I saw the poster above me. We were talking about college. I went Linklater. Dave has to know about this movie. Both of you both have to know.
Hell yeah. I got to check it out.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Hey, Nicky Craven. Episode 109.
Nicky Craves.
We're
Nicky
Ball
2
hours. Nicky Ball Games. This is it, man.
Wait, what episode is it?
109.
Wow.
109.
109.
Part of the journey, man.
You might win guest of the year again this year. Who knows? Who knows, dude?
We'll even do it.
Nicky Ball Game? You already have a nickname.
Yeah. That's gonna.
I got a "You Are Here" nickname.
No one has a nickname.
No one
yet.
has a cool nickname.
I know. I'll have to come up with. I'll make a list.
Make a list. Make a list. But we love having you, man. I miss you very much, and thank you for doing the show.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Love being here. It's also just like, I'm just into Skyping with people now. I'm like, oh my God, I'm trapped here. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, I texted my friends to Zoom the other day on Friday. I was like, we could drink and hang out. It'd be fucking fun. And they're like, oh, so tired of Zoom. I'm like, oh, this sucks.
This is great. You got margaritas. You're like, fucking yes,
like,
dude.
Get a margarita, laugh. Like, be a part of a new energy.
Yeah, man.
This is So for that reason, this is so great.
Well, you're always welcome here, dude. The You're Here podcast is your home, dude. Anytime.
Love it. Congratulations, also.
Thanks,
109.
Thank you, man.
That's a lot. We're still going. We're still going. We're growing. We're growing the pod.
Growing and going.
Thank you for the subscribers. We're at 95. We're on the road to 100. If you're listening now, please subscribe, like the podcast. If you like us at all.
I mean, hopefully,
No, I'm just playing. If you feel inclined, we really love and appreciate you for it. Nick, any last words before we're out of here? Any shout outs?
I don't know. Shout out to the family. Shout out to all friends around the world, wherever you are, wherever you may be. Good luck. I'm shooting a short film at the end of the month, which should be coming out in like festivals maybe soon after.
There we go.
So shout out to the people making that. I'm really excited for it. It's a period piece, which I haven't done, I don't think, ever.
Wow.
It's a serious, dramatic period piece. It takes place in the year 1881.
Ooh.
Oh.
Like a sheriff of like a There Will Be Blood sort of like Howard Hawks, whatever sort of town, like a block, like just like a block of like wood things. And it's, it's a big investment. The guys who've been making it have been making it for a while. It's buddies of mine here. So they super excited to do that. Pretty much it.
There we
There we go, man.
There
Nicky
we go.
Craven. All the socials in the description below. Thank you, Nick, so much for coming in. I appreciate you, man. And all right. That's it. That's it, man. Episode 109 of the podcast. You know where to find the podcast: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube with the video, Anchor.fm, www.ufpodcast.co. We cannot afford
DM.
My name is Mike, and I'm signing out.
Hey, my name's Dave. I love y'all. Be kind to each other, please.
You done?
We're done now, baby. We're done now. We're done, baby.
You guys talk so